Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with a history article from Newsweek that I don't really go to them very often because they tend to lead extremely far to the left, but they do some decent stuff occasionally. And plus, this isn't a political thing, this is a history thing, and I do like this sort of stuff. This article's from January 28th, and it says Alexander the Great's father and son identified in 2,300-year-old tombs. Why this is not a bigger story, I don't know. There is no Alexander the Great, but still, his father was actually someone of prominence back in those days. And obviously his feats were overshadowed by his child. And then Alexander the Great's son, who's Alexander the Fourth, and we'll see that coming up. But yeah, this is pretty remarkable if you ask me. So let's keep going down here. Let's close this pop-up ad. It says archaeologists say they have unraveled the identities of human remains in an ancient Greek royal tomb that are among the most historically important skeletons in Europe. So, according to a study published in the Journal of Archaeological Science reports, the skeleton they investigated belonged to the father, the fifth brother, and the son of Alexander the Great, ruler of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon between 336 BC until his death in 323 BC. And he was only like, what, 32 or 33 years old? Just during his reign, the legendary leader waged extensive military campaigns, creating one of the largest empires ever seen, spanning from Greece to northwestern India. Undefeated in battle, he is widely considered to be among the most successful military commanders in history. In the latest study, the researchers studied skeletal remains found in the so-called Great Tumulus in the vast necropolis of wow, that's a word. AJ? Okay, it's Greek, so I'm not going to pronounce it right. It's located in is it Vergina in northern Greece. Again, mispronouncing things. Because the Great Tumulus is one of four clusters of Royal Macedonian tombs that I don't even know, that date to different periods of ancient history and are covered by tumuli, mounds of earth and stone raised over graves. And a stock image of Alexander the Great. There you go. Says the Great Tumulus contains three significant tombs called Royal Tombs 1, 2, and 3. They get really creative with that sort of stuff in their naming. Is that are thought to date to around the late 4th century BC, and there has been a long running debate among scholars over the identities of the occupants of each of these 4th century BC tombs at Algae. I'm just going to start calling it that, the first capital of ancient Macedon. So this is a unique case in Greek archaeology of tombs that may be associated with important historical figures, the authors of the latest study wrote in the paper. The debate could not be solved by archaeology alone and can only be solved by physical anthropology. Antonis Bartsiokis, lead author of the study with the Department of History and Ethnology at the Democritus University of Thrace in Greece, told Newsweek. That's a hell of a title. As a paleoanthropologist, I thought I could solve this intriguing puzzle. And it seems like you did, my friend, because the real tombs under the Great Tumulus were I can read, were excavated in the 1970s, and archaeologists subsequently proposed that the tombs contained the burials of Macedonian royals, namely Alexander the Great's father, that was Philip II, his son, the aforementioned Alexander IV, and his half-brothers, Aridaeus Philip III. Says the findings from these excavations helped Vergina to become a renowned UNESCO World Heritage Site. Specifically, researchers identified the occupant of Royal Tomb 2 as that of Philip II, who died in 336 BC. Meanwhile, Tomb 1 was associated with Aridaeus and Tomb 3 with Alexander IV. Most scholars agree that Tomb 3 belongs to Alexander IV, the teenage son of Alexander the Great, but strenuous debate over the other two tombs continues unabated. In order to shed new light on the burials, a team of researchers from Greece, Spain, and the United States studied the skeletal remains as well as reviewing the available archaeological and historical data. These investigations revealed that the male remains in Tomb 1 actually belonged to Philip II. It's amazing that we can actually do stuff like this these days. You find a tomb of someone of some renown, and you can be like, holy crap, like this is actually this guy. Because the tomb also contains the remains of a woman and a very young baby, which the researchers concluded were his wife Cleopatra and their newborn child. Well, that sucks. Says this fits with historical accounts of the death of Philip, who was assassinated shortly after his wife, Cleopatra, gave birth, and Cleopatra and the baby were also killed shortly after. That's usually just how things happened back then. That sucks. The first, it was known from the historical sources that Philip II was injured in the eye. The traditional position claimed that there was an eye injury in the male skeleton of Tomb 2, meaning that the occupant was Philip II. However, we have shown that this notion was based on a description of a non-existent injury in the eye area, Bartsiokis said. Oops, scroll up. It says, second, there was a fused leg in the male skeleton of Tomb 1 consistent with the notorious lameness of Philip II. Third, the presence of the newborn in Tomb 1 confirms the identification, Tomb 1, as that belonging to Philip II, because the newborn was the only assassinated newborn known from any royal Macedonian couple. Oh, lucky them. Lucky that baby, too. Hey, that's how you're known. You are the only baby that ever was assassinated from a royal Macedonian family. Congratulations. It says fourth, the biological age of the female at 18 years old is consistent with that of the last wife of Philip II, Cleopatra. It is known from the ancient sources that she was a young girl when she was assassinated along with her newborn child. It says furthermore, no evidence of trauma was found in the male skeleton of Tomb 2, which also contains the remains of a female. Evidence of cremation in the male and female skeletons is consistent with the historic evidence for Irenaeus. As a consequence, the researchers concluded that Tomb 2 belongs to King Aridaeus and his wife Medea Eurydice. Finally, the researchers found no evidence to refute the widely accepted view that Tomb 3 belongs to Alexander IV. So, okay, so here's the map of Greece, and then they're pointing out that that area there is the real tombs and the Great Tumulus at Vergina, and that's all I'm going to call it because I'm probably wrong. All right. Wow, okay. Just sorry, I had to take a look at that. It says, these conclusions refute the traditional speculation that Tomb 2 belongs to Philip II, the authors wrote. It says, given their conclusion that Tomb 2 belongs to Aridaeus, not Philip II, the researchers suggest that some of the objects found inside of it, such as the armor, were once the property of Alexander the Great. The identities of the occupants would have an enormous impact on the interpretation of their contents. For example, due to ancient depictions and descriptions, some scholars have suggested that some of the objects in Tomb 2, such as the armor, belong to Alexander the Great, which is possible only if this is the tomb of Aridaeus, not Philip II, the authors wrote, and that is the end of the article. That's fascinating. They're able to find that stuff. I mean, geez, if you can only find Alexander the Great, and I apologize, I don't remember where he's buried. I know he died in like India or something like that. And I'm pretty sure they brought him back, but I couldn't tell you what. Oh, was he buried in Alexandria? And I think he might have been like his body may have been lost during Roman times. It's kind of coming back to me. I have to be wrong about that. But in Alexandria, Egypt is what I'm talking about, but which is named after him. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. I think this is pretty fascinating. And I haven't seen it anywhere besides Newsweek. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.